When I was a graduate student and I was studying iconography, which is the symbol, different images and what it means, my thesis was on the image of the mouth of hell in medieval manuscripts, and you couldn't Google that now. You'd Google it and all the images would pop up. Princeton University had what was called the Index of Christian Art, and scholars would take pictures and submit them for years and years to this index, and they would be reproduced poorly on little index cards. And so I would be going through all these indexes to try to find the images that I needed to prove my points that I was making in my thesis. Now you would just pull that up instantly, but I was making that bus ride down to Princeton several times a month in order to do my research. So it's so interesting how the computer field has changed the role of research. I also had that experience with the recent Anselm Kiefer show that I've presented at NSU Art Museum, and I just did the book for Ritzelis. And I realized that when Kiefer was starting out, he wasn't thinking he was going to be internationally known, but he was, 1969 to the early 70s, had predominantly a German audience and predominantly his peers. And I started realizing that the references he was using were references that his peers would have recognized immediately. To us, the non-Germans, they're obscure, but he was connecting with his peers in almost a shorthand. He could reference a poem by Paul Celan, Death Fugue, and just, instead of having the whole refrain, just mention the two protagonists, Marguerite and Shulamit, and have those names on a watercolor or a painting, and everybody would know right away it was a reference to this poem. It becomes internationally famous. It's not, these seem more obscure, but they weren't obscure to the people in his original audience. And I realize now with Google how easy it was to access the references to his early work. And so I'm even tempted to write something about Kiefer after Google, because these references are his way of introducing the ideas of his work, but you'd have to know the references, and he's so widely read, and it would, so that anyone who's following him also needs to be just as widely read and aware. But Google has become a great shortcut into getting to the meaning of the work.